A new report from Chicago's Inspector General finds the city's gun offender registry is incomplete, and there's been little effort to make sure people comply.
Inspector General Deborah Witzburg is joining us now to discuss her findings. First of all, hello to you.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Of course. You know, in the report you mentioned our 2023 WGN Investigate story that looked at this very issue. And I remember at the time, part of the problem was staffing. So I'm wondering, is that what you found as well, or did it go beyond that?
I think it goes well beyond that. CPD is certainly under-equipped for the scale of the task of registering people, but that is by no means the only problem. I think really deeper than that, the gun offender registry is simply not built to meet any of the purposes for which it was originally implemented, and that was to serve as a community resource, as a law enforcement tool, and as a crime deterrent. It's not running well enough to do any of those things.
So bottom line, your office found that CPD is not necessarily reaching out to people telling them, hey, you have to register within 5 days. And even when they do, they make it difficult to register. And then if they don't register, police aren't actually following up. Does that basically sum it up?
I think all of that is true. Additionally, there is no way that the Chicago Police Department could reach all of the people whom the law requires to register. For example, people who are convicted of an equivalent gun offense in another state or at the federal level, who live in Chicago, or even who move to the city of Chicago after they are convicted elsewhere, are, under the terms of the law, obligated to register. That is a population which CPD could not possibly identify, even if it set out to do that with better controls.
Does your report sort of highlight how many people, in your estimation, sort of fell through the cracks or maybe are not being registered? Any idea on numbers?
I think neither we nor the police department can know what we don't know, and that's very much part of the problem here.
I went and rewatched Lourdes's story from 2023, and it was remarkable. She went to the South Side, outside this little nondescript building where both gun and sex offenders are supposed to register, and there's this long line of people and a sign on the door that says, you know, basically, due to short staffing, come back later. And Lourdes interviewed a sex offender who was trying to register. He said, I was here the day before, and I was here the day before, and they keep turning me away.
Well, and then I think I remember that it was days after he had tried to register, he was arrested for I think it was for riding his bike on a sidewalk. Yeah. Even when he tried to register, he couldn't. And so he ended up with an arrest because of that. I'm wondering, has CPD tried to make any changes to address this, right? Because I think after our initial report, they tried to do something about it, but even that doesn't seem like it's worked.
The department has made some efforts, and they committed to making some more efforts going forward. I think the issue here is, before we invest more law enforcement resources in a registry which may never have been built to work in the first place, we ought to do a sort of cost-benefit assessment. If this is a tool that we think could work, then we ought to do it right. We ought to invest the resources necessary to have a comprehensive registry which is well enforced and well administered. If we don't think that this tool is in fact ever going to run in such a way that it serves those three purposes, as a community resource, as a law enforcement tool, and as a crime deterrent, then we should put it away. I think leaving this law on the books as window dressing to suggest the city is doing something which it isn't doing to deter gun crime is a real problem.
All right, very interesting. Inspector General Deborah Witzburg, we appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.